All right, here's the mod we're doing for today. Well, setting up for a mod, and then I'm gonna do another mod. Anyway, one mod is going to be installing that steering damper onto discs. So I've got a very thick steel, gotta be careful not to touch this because I just got back from riding, steel plate that is anchored to that engine mount. And then I've got spacers and standoffs that are going to come out to the clamp, and I'm gonna have, let's see, this steering damper. I'm waiting on the piece that clamps to there. So I've got that on order, and it's gonna mount, let's see, let's stretch this. There we go. It's gonna end up sitting something kind of like that. So, or no, it's gonna sit like that. So I've got about a 2-inch spacer and a heavy bolt that's gonna come out, and it's gonna mount there, and then that end's gonna mount up there, and we're gonna have a little steering damper right there. So that's all set up. Just got a piece of steel from the hardware store, drilled it out for, I think that's a 12mm hole and then an 8. Painted it with that 2000 degree engine paint. So I painted it with that, 2 coats, put it in the oven at 300 degrees for 45 minutes and just kind of let it bake on. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. As soon as that clamp comes in, then I'll do a full video of that. What I'm gonna do now is, as you know, if you watch my other videos, I always have a problem with comfort on bikes. And believe it or not, up and high is what hurts my neck. Low and forward doesn't bother my neck. So this has been pretty comfortable, but I just noticed, you see there's an offset from the center of this bolt, and then this is about 3/4 of an inch back. What I'm gonna do is loosen the bolt right there. I'm gonna loosen this just like half a turn so those become loose. I'm gonna take out all these bolts, lift the bar up, and I'm gonna spin these around so that that offset being 3/4 or half an inch or whatever it is back from center, looks like from here, it's probably about, yeah, maybe it's 3/4 of an inch. This is gonna be spun around, and then I'll retighten that so that the bars are gonna be exactly the same angle and everything. We're just gonna move everything up over here. So you'll see before, if I put the bars straight, kind of where they are in relation to the bike, we're just gonna move the whole clamp forward. That's all we're gonna do, just gonna move it forward. Because I'm 6'4", I got orangutan length arms, and so being everything bunched up by having it kind of back is what hurts my neck. So it's not gonna be like a Thruxton where I got clip-ons down here. It's still gonna be up high. We're just gonna move it forward. And for tall guys, they also wanna put a little more weight over the front. When you're going on the interstate, instead of sitting bolt upright in the wind and acting like a sail, it's just gonna pitch me forward just a little more, leaning into the wind. But it's still gonna be pretty upright and comfortable. So let me go ahead and do that mod, and then we'll be back and see what it looks like. All right, so there we are. I know it doesn't look much different, but if you compare, back up the video to where it is now, you'll see that, I mean, it might have moved them forward, I mean, up a, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, but it moved them forward about 1.5 inches, roughly. So kept the angle the same, you know, match this up with this little hash mark there to center it and everything. So everything's at the same angle. I literally just spun these around, and before, you notice this part that kind of swings that way, that was swinging back. So there's an offset. The bolt is in the center. Now it's a 3/4 inch forward instead of 3/4 of an inch back. So it's not 3/4 of an inch, it's twice that, because it went from 3/4 this direction, past center, to 3 1/4 in the other direction. So it's about 1.5 inches. Feels good so far. I moved my mount for my camera back to the back bolt instead of the front bolt. Oh, the other thing was, so you just loosen the bolts on the bottom. It's I think it's a 14 mil. There's a hex head up under there, right there. When I flipped them initially, when I just turned them around from this direction, I just turned them 180. There's also a left to right offset. You'll notice that. See if I can get it. See how it kind of goes to the left? This is not centered. So when I flipped these, it was the bottom part was too wide. None of the bolts were lining up here. So I had to actually flip these, not just front to back, but I had to put, this is from the other side. So when you flip it, the offset goes in the opposite direction, but then when you flip it, then you're back to normal. And then you have the proper width for this to line up with that. You don't have to flip this upside down with it so that it reads upside down, none of that. So I'm gonna go out and take it for a ride and see how it feels, but that's the mod. Just flip it 180 degrees and left to right. It's a very simple mod. It's 4 bolts and then 1, 2 more. That's all you gotta do.